So we yeah. So your was continue to learn more about Buddhism, right? That's our schedule is about. So 6 to 7 we meditation, and 7 to 8 we have discussion there. Yeah. We have Ben. Ben, can you see us, Ben?
Hi.
Yeah. Okay. Miss Kirsten, so Cherry, he will take the children to this Sunday, 7 a.m. If you can come early, support him.
Sunday?
This Sunday, 7. Yeah, 7.
Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday. Okay.
On Sundays by like 9:45.
Yeah, the reason why it's 7 because we want to do early so that we have another function after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on then. Yep, Dylan here. Yeah. Can you read? It's so small. It's okay now.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the Rabada traditions last week. Yeah. Yeah, Miss Kirsten, would you like to give?
More relevant and also demanding a fearful respect are the lower level superhuman beings whose jurisdiction in cult are strongly regionally defined. In addition, there are a great number of locally identified demons and ghosts believed to cause personal illness and misfortune. Because these beings are largely known through local oral tradition, there is considerable validity in their names and attributes, though the broader structure of the hierarchy remains relatively constant. Each level of superhuman beings has its respective forms and offering and class of religious specialists organized along a continuum of relative purity. All of these have power to harm or benefit people in their daily lives. And it is these beings, not the Buddha, whom the Theravadins invoke and appropriate to avert misfortune and gain worldly benefits.
Okay.
Well, I think that's the Theravadins maybe in the kind that's not. Yeah, I mean, the gods and stuff like that change a lot, and I don't really know much about Thai Theravada Buddhism, but I would say that that's mostly what they're referring to there. Although I guess if you kind of look across the spectrum of all the Buddhist type deities throughout the cultures, you'll see that, yeah, they can either help you or harm you or.
You know about the Rabada and Mahaya Buddhist tradition? Yeah. Can you give them some information?
So Buddhism predominantly.
Hi, Alan. How you been?
3 main sects. Theravada Buddhism, which is considered like.
How are you doing, Bob?
And then Mahayana, which this temple is more of an Eastern tradition where the main difference is in Theravada traditions, the monks cultivate to completely escape the cycle of birth and death. In Mahayana, they take a vow to keep reincarnating, to come back and help all sentient beings be relieved of suffering. They postpone their own enlightenment within this vow. So those are the 2 main, and then there's Vajrayana, which is a more of a northern tradition where like in Tibet and Nepal, where you see a lot of the different like kind of yogic looking god, Hindu gods, or also they.
Yeah, let me share with you the
Yeah.
map then. This here. This is what we call the Theravada Mahayana. Can you see it? So these are, you see the yellow, this one here is what where Mahayana Buddhism spread to. China, Tibet, Korea, Japan, and Theravada, they spread out here. It's not clear, huh? Well, let's see here. Okay, right here, this one. You see the dark here? Those are the country that receive or have influence of Theravada tradition, the conservative tradition. This area are the place where Buddhism, that Mahayana Buddhism spread. This is more clear too. This one here, Theravada Mahayana, this one here, and this, China, Tibet, Vietnam. Actually, Cambodia now they have mainly Theravada, not Mahayana. Yeah. I think this one is more clear. Can you see now, right? Yeah, this is Mahayana, this Theravada, and Vietnam here. Yeah, in Burma, Sri Lanka, this is Theravada. Theravada is conservative one. Mahayana is the liberal one, the northern. This one, the Theravada is the southern, conservative one. But somehow, even in Christian tradition, right? The southern is more conservative, right? Is that right? It's coincidence, right? I don't know why. Yeah, so that's the idea here. So so we study about the Theravada tradition now. At the beginning, from beginning up to now, we studied in general, but now we're in depth about this tradition. And this parshat is say that so when Buddhism spread to those countries, Thailand, Burma, and so forth, the Theravada country, so they adopt the local gods, local deities into the Buddhist tradition. And you see here, all these have the power to harm or benefit people, and they're being not Buddha, invoke propriety to avert misfortune and gain worldly benefit. So nothing to do with Buddha, but for the local gods, local deities that Buddhism adopt into tradition. It's a little bit different from Christian tradition, right? So if you follow God, right, God will support you and so forth, right? Otherwise, you may have some kind of punishment, right? But Buddha is stay up the realm. So only the local gods or deities have that kind of, you can say that worldly misfortune again. That's what about that. Okay. Let's skip them for a while because they don't know. How about Sam? Can you read next one to Sam? Yeah.
This general outline of the structure and dynamics of the hierarchy of superhuman beings also applies to other Theravada Buddhist cultures. In Thailand, a group of superhuman beings below the Deva realm are called Bi, while in Burma, they're referred to as Knots. In Sri Lanka, these beings range greatly in their relative purity and style of behavior. What remains consistent is the organization of the pantheon according to the principle of karma and the symbolic supremacy of the Buddha and his middle path over these powerful beings and their cults. It's just saying, in these various cultures, they still acknowledge they respect that these other beings people believed in exist, but they're kind of ranked based on their karma, like how strong they are is related to how good they are, and they're all considered, not on the same level as Buddha. They're respected.
So can you read the Tathagarama worship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kataragama religious complex, located in the southeastern corner of Sri Lanka, is probably the island's most popular devotional center, attracting vast numbers of worshippers drawn from all the major religious communities. The primary religious focus of the complex is the god Kataragama, more commonly known among Hindus as Skanda, the warlike offspring of Shiva and Parvati. Although the Sri Lankan cult of Kataragama has for centuries attracted Tamil Hindus, his popularity among Sinhala Buddhists rose dramatically in the latter half of the 20th century. And they now represent the majority of visitors to the site.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I know the stories about Skanda from the Hindu tradition, but I didn't realize that he had crossed over into, well, I guess it makes sense because like Sri Lanka, there's sort of that melding of Vedic culture and Buddhist culture.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting that that is sort of a little melting pot of the different religions up there.
But you think about like the Tamil Tigers, I mean, there's so much rich cultural history. I mean, Sinhalese in Tamil are like very, very similar.
Hmm.
So, like, I mean, you can see it throughout the culture of the language, that they're still like really pretty closely attached.
Hmm. You know, in Hinduism, they have what called Trinity, right? The Brahma is the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva destroyer. So according to this story, so this god, like, was husband of Shiva and Parvati. Parvati is goddess. Yeah, so that's why you see that they blend in between Buddhism and Hinduism there for the common people. Yeah.
I mean, it's still similar in Vietnamese Buddhism too, because of like Althea and the kitchen gods.
Yeah,
like all
yeah.
those
It's just
traditional
that you see that the
deities.
adaptation, right? Mm.
In the ancient, like, India, they had, Indra was like considered like one of the top gods of the earth, like the main earth god. And he had like lightning powers. And the Buddhists like kind of absorbed him. They made him nicer and less like wrathful. And renamed him Sakura. And whenever those Greek Buddhists that we talked about in the other class were around, they were like, "Oh, this is just Zeus," I guess.
So Ben, can you follow us, Ben? Can you follow our conversation? Can you
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, you like to read this test?
It's really little on my phone, and it's not letting me zoom in.
A little for you? Oh, that's okay. If it's too little, that's okay. Okay, that's
Just skip me for right now.
it can pass to Kayla. Yeah, please.
Many of Kataragama's worshippers seek the god's favor by engaging in various austere physical practices, including rolling in scorching sand, piercing their cheeks, tongue, and other body parts with skewers or hooks, and walking across burning coals. More than 500,000 visitors flock to the complex each year, with the greatest number congregating during the god's festival in the month of Asala, July or August. Although Kataragama is regarded by many Buddhists as a bodhisattva, he is also associated with sensual passion and acts of retribution, unlike the more remote guardian deities who are regarded as largely benevolent and rational. Kataragama is known for using any means to help those whom he chooses to favor. So he's Skanda. What's the story of Skanda?
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Does it have anything to do with Skanda really? Think that.
Yeah, in like the Vedic tradition, he's also sort of he's Ganesh's angry little brother.
Yeah.
Probably especially my dad, but whatever.
So you seen them, those people, follow the religious tradition, but they pierce the cheek, tongue.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've seen.
Never,
videos, I've seen
okay.
videos.
You seen that before?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, they still practice it now in India. So if you go to India, it's plenty. There's all kind of practice over there. They walk on the burning coal, right? The spirits, the hazards.
I mean, you can pay to go get hung by hooks in your back.
Have you seen that? It's terrible. You type it on what is going on. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they put the hook in the back.
So then they.
And the
sneak you
chest
out.
too, the chest.
Get going within the evenings, like, so you can pay for a couple hour sessions.
Yeah, it's horrible. You seen that?
Yeah.
You seen that though?
Yes, it's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's really intense. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, but again, so they consider as a Bodhisattva in Theravada tradition too. Yeah. So that's why they pray for this type of God too. Yeah. This Ethan.
The rise in popularity of having, thank you, is explained by many factors. The complex is more accessible because of road improvements and greater access to transportation. Anthropologists who was studying the devotion to guitar gama for many years highlights the importance of social changes in Sri Lanka, including population increases, urbanization, and the breakdown of traditional village culture and economic uncertainties. In part, he suggests Buddhists are drawn to, I think, it's hard because the dramatic religious practices associated with devotion, many of which were brought to Sri Lanka by Hindu families, offer a kind of emotional gratification that stands in sharp contrast to the ideals of sensual and emotional restraint that have traditionally categorized Sri Lankan Buddhism. Are they comparing the ideals of sensual and emotional restraint that traditional characterize the Sri Lankan Buddhism? Are they comparing like Tantra to Buddhism?
Yeah. So they say that this type of God was brought by the Hindu, right? Hindu Thomas. That's why they blend in and this Hindu tradition, Hindu God. Yeah. And you understand now, right? The Hindu adopt the Buddha as their ninth incarnation of Krishna. Yeah. You know about that?
Hinduism was adopted. Buddha.
Yeah. Okay. Let me share with you. Yeah. After Buddhism disappeared in India since the 13th century, so they adopt.
That was in the 13th
Yeah.
century.
Yeah. Krishna.
Technically additional.
Yeah.
Krishna is also.
Nine incarnation.
I love the person.
Just talking about that.
Is the holiday that's kind of Diwali, is there a version of Diwali in Buddhism as well? Or no? Is that just a weird
Which one?
Diwali? No?
Oh, right here. Yes, yes. These are the nine incarnation, right? Buddha, Krishna, and Kali. This is what they adopt here. The nine avatar of Vishnu. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on then. This is for Sri Lanka. Please, Krishna, please.
From time to time, its arrival in the 3rd century up to the present day, Theravada Buddhism has been inextricably linked with the history of Sri Lanka. The story of Mahinda's conversion of the king to the Buddhist Dharma and the king's subsequent construction of the monasteries and road monuments, thus establishing the Dharma, Sangha, and Buddha, all 3 elements of the triple wreckage, highlights the enduring connection between the Sangha and the state that has characterized the history of Buddhism in Sri Lanka. While the fortunes of Buddhism have risen and fallen during alternating periods of royal patronage and neglect and effects of waves of foreign invasion, Sri Lankan Buddhists long have regarded their island as a special preserve of the Buddhist teaching. So very much the Buddhists in Sri Lanka believe that they have access to like the original of the Buddhist teaching, as you know, they kind of see themselves as the preserver of Buddhism, but you know, that it's in a very volatile space. So, you know, you've got India invading, you've got the British coming, you've got all kinds of people invading that little island. So it's coming. But Buddhism was designed to be flexible, so it's enabled. Oh, and then what was the thing they said about the King Melinda?
Mhm. Can mean that this is the 1st century
Yeah.
BC, but I'm talking about the 3rd century BC.
Oh,
Mahinda, the Ashoka's son,
oh, okay.
yeah, spread Buddhism from India to Sri Lanka. You know about this? Not much. Yeah, so Ashoka, this is the Buddhist red king. After his conversion to Buddhism, so he spread Buddhism to every corner of India as well as other countries. So even he encouraged his son and daughters to become Buddhist monk and nun too. So both of them went to Sri Lanka to spread Buddhism, and doing and actually they have the legend, and they say that Buddha actually went to Sri Lanka. So that's why here you can see that. So they say that they put the human footprint of the Buddha on this island. In the Mahavamsa is one of the famous commentaries, Buddhist commentaries in Sri Lanka. Yeah, that's what they believe in. Yeah. Let's see here. There's a Buddha footprint. That here. This is where is the temple right here. This is the Adam, what they call Adam pig. So they believe that Buddha went there by himself 3 times during his lifetime. It's a legend, not actually in the historical record. There's no written record that talk about Buddha actually went to Sri Lanka. It's pretty far. I know what. Yeah. Yeah. That's what they believe in, and Sri Lanka is where the Theravada tradition spread to the whole country. At first, there's some influence from Mahaya tradition, but later on, Theravada tradition is prevalent in Sri Lanka, and later on they spread throughout the country. Yeah. Okay. You like to read? We might to read this next. Or if you don't mind. Yeah. Yeah.
Our knowledge of the history of Buddhism in Sri Lanka owes much to the ancient monastic chronicles composed and preserved within the Mahadara monastic community, which traces its roots back to Mahindas and King Davana Thesis?
Yeah.
A
Long.
monastic foundation in the ancient capital of Anuradhapura. According to the chronicles, the first major split of the Sri Lankan Sangha arose in the 1st century BCE when royal patronage shifted to a group of dissident monks who had founded the Abhayagiri
Mm.
Mahayana teaching. I'm sorry, it's the monastery. The Abhayagiri community appears to have been more open to Mahayana teachings coming from India. A second split occurred in the 4th century CE with the establishment of the Jatavana.
Mm. Any similar. Oh, next page, right? It's next page, right? Yeah, that's one here. Can you read? It's too small, right? Yeah, can you make anything?
So the community in Anuradhapura.
Mm.
Again, under royal patronage, the Sri Lankan Sangha remained divided into 3 distinct fraternities, at least in Anuradhapura.
It's hard to say.
I keep getting worse and worse. Until the 12th century CE, when King Parakram Bahu the first sponsored a major purification in the monastic community and reunited the 3 groups under single monastic leadership in the Mahavira.
Yeah, it's long for you.
That's not hard.
Names, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to get it.
Mm.
Appreciate the positivity.
Mm. This case, you know, like.
You're right. You should.
Teacher Brian.
Was this before or after the council? Where
This-
split?
During the Ashoka time is the 3rd council.
Okay.
Yeah, this one the top. Yeah, after the 3rd council.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mahavihara would mean like the great.
Temple,
Vihara,
great
which is
temple.
like which is like the collection of where the Buddhists live.
Okay.
And so the reason why that's such a large community, it traces back to when Ashoka's son, I guess, established it there in Sri Lanka. And then also kind of gave them part of that, I guess, the code that they were using, the Ashokan code.
So this is like the 1st century, that larger community is split into.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, according to the chronicle, it's the first major split in the 1st century BC. And the Abhayagiri it belonged to Mahayana teaching. Remember, see that at first. So at first, from the 3rd century to the 1st century, there's no distinction between Mahayana and Theravada. But later on, starting from the 1st century BC, it have that type of clear separation between Mahayana and Theravada. It's not from here, and that's why later on, Theravada spread to other nearby country. Yeah. It's so colorful, right?
I think I've got a picture of Sam dressed up like that somewhere.
I've seen a picture.
In that particular color too.
Which one? I got to wear the Sri Lankan king outfit last year.
You wear that?
I did.
He did.
Yeah.
I ring the bell.
I guess it was like not this past September, but September of 2022.
Yeah, so here, sun from until the 12th century, they have not a major purification. That's why, yeah, later on they split out more and more. Yeah. Okay.
As we see the splits in the division, right, is that because it's place, or is it because of political
No,
or?
no, in Buddhism, it's pure rare to have any kind of political division. Most of the time is dealing with the monastic rules and how they practice based on the principle. So even they have different path to go to practice, but most of the time they coexist peacefully. During the Xuan Chan, right? Remember we talked about the Chinese monk who went from China to India, and even before in the 4th century, the other one that went from China to India, he met so many Buddhist groups that they had the same temple, but they follow different tradition. Whether Mahayana or Theravada, this is not much different. Different is their personal practice. So it's no big deal. Of course, sometimes there's some problem with diet, right? For example, right, in our temple, yeah, we can host any Theravada monks, but of course we cannot handle the meat. We can't. You understand? In our temple, we don't consume meat, but if you visit the Selakam temple and the Burmese temple, they consume meat there.
But they don't have meat at ceremonies where they invite other monks.
What's that?
I said if other monks are invited, it's vegetarian only.
Oh,
So that's only like if they personally offer meat, like the lay people come and feed them during the week. But when they have the big ceremonies, it's vegetarian.
so usually the lay people bring the meat
During the week, yeah.
during the week.
During the weekend.
Like at the Sri Lanka temple, so they bring the meat when they have this celebration or no?
No,
No, okay, but only you mean that only the weekday, right?
yeah, only during the week.
Weekday
Yeah.
for personal offering.
Right, so, so when they have the bigger ceremonies
Wow,
or
that-
whatever, they ask you not to.
Yeah, I think that's good influence from Mahayana tradition then. Yeah, many Buddhist people around here they may not like
Right,
have those couple of offerings during the big celebration.
right, so they.
But in the Burmese at the Burmese temples, sometimes I heard that they still cook meat over there by themselves. It's normal for them, but of course for us, no way. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. Sam, you like to read this one?
3 successive periods of European colonization exerted a profound effect on the history of Sri Lankan Buddhism, beginning with the Portuguese at the start of the 16th century. The Dutch subsequently seized control of the island in the middle of the 17th century, and the British gained control at the end of the 1700s. With the British conquest of the Kandyan Kingdom in 1815, the whole of Sri Lanka was for the first time under the centralized control of a foreign power. Although Christian missionary efforts under the various European powers failed to convert more than a small percentage of the population, official indifference and at times hostility hastened the decline of the Sangha. Following independence in 1948, a powerful wave of Sinhala Buddhist nationalism emerged, centered on the elections of 1956 and the 2,500th anniversary of the Buddha's final passing away. The current ethnic conflict between the Sinhala-dominated government of Sri Lanka and the Tamil independence movement, though not fundamentally about religious differences, is nevertheless shaped by a popular ideal. of restoring and protecting a distinctive Buddhist heritage in a post-colonial setting.
Mm.
What is Tamil?
Is the South Indian language or the South Indian people, so in Tamil Nadu, big state.
Mm.
So it's a region of Punjab.
Mhm.
Mm.
Like the opposite end of the country, though.
They call the tiger, right? The
Well,
Tamil
the
tiger.
tigers are like, that was like a fighting thing. I'm not really great remembering the dates. Airplanes were invented. I know that much.
Post 1900.
But, yeah, and that, they were like really ferocious and known for a lot of really horrific, crimes.
A lot of the Tamils in Sri Lanka were basically like brought there by the British, or still the British Empire, as like workers.
Okay.
And then whenever the British Empire was gone, all the Tamils that were still in Sri Lanka, like to this day, they don't have like citizenship of either India or Sri Lanka. It kind of sucks, yeah.
Mm. But that's what they fought for.
Yeah.
But they lost the war, right?
Yeah, I know my history is fantastic.
Mm. Yeah.
As usual, the British Empire could be blamed for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. So see that even they have all kind of Christian missionary effort, but they still put the rent the Buddhist tradition now in Sri Lanka. And you know the story of and we talk about the man, the American colonel, the one that raised the Buddhist flag. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
We talk about that.
Created,
You
yeah.
know, you know about that. Oh, let me show you one more time. Yeah. So here's the one. Here's the one that designed. Yeah, the Buddhist. You seen it before, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here's the Buddhist flag. Yeah, this one here. So these are the Buddhist flag. Wherever you go, you see the Buddhist flags, whether they're Chinese, Vietnamese, Sri Lankan, and so forth.
That one in my head.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's friend for your neighbor, or they ask you about that, or no?
Oh, they don't care. His parents are our neighbors.
Oh, only your parents, that's all? They have
They live
neighbor.
across the street
Yeah,
from
that was
us.
right across.
How about the other neighbors around? Is it in subdivision?
No, we live out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
so-
We
okay.
have a couple neighbors. They don't care.
So,
They mind their own business.
yeah,
We all do.
American corner, right? Kind of,
See,
It's colonial.
Colonial?
Yeah, it's spelled weird.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's it, American. Yeah. So, anyway, oh, that's one here. That's here. Yeah, Colonel Henry Scott. Yeah. So he went around the island and propagate Buddhism again, to advocate the spread of Buddhism. That's why it came alive. Yeah. That's really famous. Yeah. Yeah, the big problem in the East, especially Southeast Asia countries like Vietnam, Burma, and so forth, with this type of colonization there. Yeah. Okay, so let's move. Okay, let's read the story of the poison festival.
One of the most widely celebrated Buddhist festivals in Sri Lanka is Poson. The full moon day falling in May or June, that commemorates the coming of Buddhism to Sri Lanka from India in the 3rd century BCE. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims from all over Sri Lanka travel to the ancient capital of Anandapura and nearby Mahintau to mark the day upon which the monk Mahinda, son of the great Indian Emperor Ashoka, is believed to have converted let's see, Napatisa, the
Mm,
king of Sri Lanka.
yeah. That's big festival.
Mhm.
That's huge important festival. They still keep from the third century up to now. Yeah. Okay.
The site of Mahinda's first teaching of the Dharma to the king on the mountaintop at Nathantale is the same spot, according to tradition, visited by the Buddha on his legendary third visit to Sri Lanka, and is included among the 16 primary pilgrimage sites on the island. Archaeological excavations have also uncovered numerous relic monuments and the ruins of an extensive complex of monastic structures. Since the 1950s, the festival has drawn considerable media attention, as well as the interest of politicians, and has served to integrate popular Buddhist devotion and Sinhala Buddhist nationalist sentiment.
So before this called themselves Sinhala, not Sri Lanka, but later on they changed their names. Yeah, let's see, Mihin Theo. Yeah,
Ceylon?
Ceylon, yeah.
Ceylon.
That's what the Portuguese and British called it.
I was gonna say, isn't Simpala the language?
Yeah.
That's right here. Mihin Theo. That's where they believe that Buddha went there spiritually, right? Yeah. This is here. You see that? So they believe that Buddha flew there by his spiritual power, not by walking. Yeah, that's what they believe in. Yeah, this is this one. Yeah.
Why is it so common for Buddhism to tie Buddha to mountains or high elevation?
Wow, it's
That's
still a hard
all of
question.
Indian cultures too, like, that's, what's the name of that, it's a pretty famous mountain
In India?
in India.
Thailand,
Westerners love going there. It's the same. No, it's a,
not Mount Kailash. Well, that's not technically in India.
no. Who's the real famous non-dualist monk that a lot of people, he's like stuff. Anyways, it's very common in
So-
culture.
There's like this concept, where in a lot of religions, like, there's like holy people at the top of the mountain, because it's like to climb a mountain is like a process of going upward, ascending, and it's like a challenge to yourself, and so it's kind of symbolic of like the spiritual journey. That's my understanding of why.
Yeah, I
There's
forgot.
probably more.
Yeah, I forgot the names of. Let me smooth out here. The
What's the city?
So that's a city, but it's,
It's
hang on.
I forgot the names of the mountain. That's where the Buddha taught Lotus Sutra. It's good called the Bird Peak Mountain. I forgot. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me see here. Not Mount Sumeru.
Is it like Raven Peak? Is it like the bird?
almost
Is it like Raven Peak or something?
Not Raven Peak. Vulture.
Vulture Peak. I knew it was a bird.
Vulture Peak. So yeah, it's still a good question. This is probably the first question I have ever heard about this. This is a wonderful question. In Buddhism, it's viewed that the mountain, every mountain has the highest top. It represents the ultimate goal of Buddhism. So whichever way we go, we can climb up to the mountain, the highest point of the mountain. So again, this represents the ultimate goal of the practice. So that's why, the Buddhist holy places relate to the mountain in everywhere, where there's Mount Sumeru, right? In India, this Vulture Peak. In China, right? We have Four Mountain, right? Or Potosa and so forth. In Vietnam too. without delay too. Wow, that's good. Pretty good question. Yeah, and let's go back here. So yeah, they celebrate. They celebrate this type of celebration. This kind of spread of Buddhism to the land.
I need to leave a little early today, I'm sorry, but I'll see some of you tomorrow.
Okay.
and the rest of you next week. Have a
Okay,
good night.
good. Thank you. See you then. Take care. Yeah. Good night. Okay. And the 16 primary pyramid site. So do they list out? Yeah. So there's another 8 places. So you don't know the name. List the name. So yeah. Anyway, so these are the one of the right here. The System Buddhist most sacred place in Sri Lanka. So they live there since the early times, since in the 3rd century, 2nd century BC. That's why it's so sacred. Yeah, okay. So let's just move on to let's see here. Oh, okay, you see the yeah. Yeah, Abba, can you read this?
Yes.
Avalokitesava.
In Sri Lanka. However, much Sri Lanka is presently identified exclusively with the Theravada tradition. This was not always the case. There is considerable textual and archaeological evidence attesting to the presence of Mahayana Buddhism on the island. A striking example of this is the cult of Avalokitesvara, one of the most popular Mahayana Buddhist bodhisattva, which was well established in Sri Lanka by the 8th century current era, particularly among coastal seafaring communities. The figure of Avalokitesvara later becomes associated with Naka, the one of the 4 guardian deities, and he in turn becomes identified with Maitreya, the next Buddha expected by Theravada. Mahayana influence diminished after King from Bali. Is united the Sri Lankan Sangha under Mahatma leadership in the 12th century.
When you first went to our temple, you see, it's too dark. You see the big statue out there. You couldn't see it too dark on the front, right? You see that? Have you passed by here frequently or the first time?
No, we've actually been here before. We
Oh, you
came
were?
for- It was a New Year's festival. We
New
saw-
Year?
I think it was New Year's. We came
Oh.
watching it live
Wow.
dancing.
Oh, line dance, yeah, I like it. Yeah, you see the white statue in the front, the far
okay,
front.
yes, yes.
That's what one of the forms of this Bodhisattva we call compassionate Bodhisattva. Now, actually, last Sunday we did that celebration.
Oh,
We
okay.
have that great compassion Bodhisattva celebration here last Sunday. Yeah.
They say she hears the cries of all the world. Or it's also supposed to be like the wind that dries your tears.
Yeah, even before you leave, you see we have another statue that's 1,000 hands, 1,000 eyes here inside the Buddha hole. It represents that this Buddhist could transform himself or herself into any form of life to help sentient beings. Yeah, that's what relate to Mahayana tradition. Yeah, in Mahayana tradition, we focus more in what we call celestial Buddha, Bodhisattva. In Theravada tradition, they just believe only once is called the Buddha, and the next one is the next Buddha, that's the matriarch, that's all. The matriarch Bodhisattva. Yeah. And so we see that from say start from 8th century, right? Actually from 12th century, right? So Theravada tradition is more popular or prevalent in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
I think it's interesting that like the coastal areas kept it longest because they probably had contact with Mahayana
Yes.
countries at that time.
Yeah. So, yeah, by reading this story, you can see how Buddhism spread, right, in this country, right? Yeah. Okay. Southeast Asia. Okay. Good. Yeah. Mr. Kason. It's a long one. It's still a long one.
The vast region now referred to as Southeast Asia, bounded by Indian subcontinent on the west and China on the north, and stretching southeastward across the islands of Indonesia, has been deeply shaped by the interplay of Indian influence within the region's great diversity of indigenous cultures. Although modern nations of the mainland Southeast Asia are, with exception of Vietnam, predominantly Theravada Buddhist, forms of Brahmic Hindu religion and Mahayana Buddhism, including Vajrayana, exercise powerful influences in the region, at least as early as the 1st century. Spread along the great maritime trading routes that link Sri Lanka and the eastern coast of India with mainland and insular Southeast Asia, Indian religious ideas and rituals were probably initially embraced by the local rulers throughout Southeast Asia as a means of strengthening their political authority. The magnificent ruins of Angkor in Cambodia, Payan in Burma, and Bordabur in Java attest the influence of Indian conceptions of kingship, both Brahmic, Hindu, and Buddhist, and the depth of artistic and economic resources dedicated to the material embodiment of these ideas.
Yeah, you can stop there. Too long for you. Yeah.
So predominantly in Southeast Asia, except for Vietnam, you mostly see Theravada Buddhists here covering those countries. And then, like in places in Indonesia, like you see in Bali, you see Buddhism and Hinduism all kind of mixed into. So again, it just kind of talks about the flexibility of Buddhism throughout Southeast Asia. And then, like, you know, the one of the 7 wonders of the world, Angkor in Cambodia, and then also in Bordabur, which is in Indonesia. So that's where you can kind of see both the Brahmic influences mixed with them.
You know the Angkor Wat? You heard about that?
Yeah, I didn't know that was like a Buddhist/Hindu temple.
Yes, there's Angkor Wat. Yeah, it's at first it's the right here. You see that? You see the island here, right? Later on, it spread to Burma, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and let's see here. Angkor Wat.
Cambodia was colonized by the French.
Angkor Wat. This is so beautiful. That's right. That's the thing. At first, so at first they Hindu king built this Angkor Wat,
Mhm.
but later on it was converted to Buddhism, the Buddhist site. Later on, yeah. And I know also they call pageant, right? Pageant in Burma. Mm.
I mean, if you look at Buddhism and Hinduism, there's not really a huge difference in a lot of it, other than, you know, the acknowledgement of like that, a permanent soul, and the ability where Buddha gives the ability to strip off all the gods and everything. So Buddhism, or in my mind, is a stripped down version of Hinduism, or of what the Vedic cultures were at that time. And then as it moved throughout Asia, it still leaves the flexibility to take on like these other gods or whatever it was culturally appropriate. Because it's, like I said, it's just a stripped down version of, so you could plug and play as it moved.
Yeah, so even like you say, but still Buddhism have some special unique approaches, like there's no class discrimination.
Yeah.
There's no class, everyone is equal.
Yeah.
And also there's no graders. That big difference.
Yeah.
They have the Brahma, remember Brahma, the grader, Shiva and Vishnu. Buddhism is purge all of those elements. Yeah, that's why when during Buddha times, he accept everyone, whether they were king, queen, or even the prostitute, or even the criminals one, right? He accept them all. But in the Hindu tradition, there's no way. You cannot get married to different class, different caste system. You know, right? You know about that? That's why it's so severe, even up to now, especially in the rural area. In the modern city area, they're more flexible nowadays, but still, they still follow those kind of tradition for thousands of years. That's a big difference. And when actually when you can say that Indian religious tradition spread to, like I say, the South Asia country, right? And somehow again, Hinduism and Buddhism blend together, because sometimes the king of this South Asian country, sometimes they adopt Hinduism, another time they adopt Buddhism. That's why Buddhism and Hinduism blend together in those countries. Yeah, but of course now they in South Asia country they follow Buddhism. They have more Buddhists. They don't have many Hindu people there. Yeah, you know, because they have the what do you call the connection by merchant, right? They brought some things from India to other country like South Asian country. That's why the Indian tradition spread to this kind of South Asian country too. Yeah, but somehow the people over there, they adopt Buddhism strongly than Hinduism, especially because of the caste system. Yeah. Okay, so so that's all for us today. So thank you. You could follow, right? You read some Buddhist book before?
I have not.
Never? Oh, okay.
A lot of religions, and I'm not really religious.
Oh, really?
But I'm
Okay.
curious, and having her as a student is more motivation than actually.
Yeah. So you surprised that Aaron, he lived here with us at the temple?
But I've known that since his freshman year. He told me, and I was blown away. It was such a fascinating story. It was incredible.